Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Phoenix and this is the Consumer's Guide to Filmmaking. Black Bag, 2025, Steven Soderbergh. This film follows a pair of spies named George and Catherine. Married and living a pleasant life, George is informed by a colleague that a highly classified piece of tech known as Cerberus has been stolen by one of his co-workers. Unfortunately for George, one of the prime suspects is his wife, Catherine. With no other option, George must follow the clues left in the wake of this robbery and deduce whether his wife is a traitor. Of the Soderbergh films that dropped this year, there was surprisingly more than one. This was the one I decided to sleep on for a bit. But shame on me for not getting to this sooner. This spy caper was an absolute fucking banger of a film. Compared to Presence, which had a very identifiable and unique visual style, this film is more pared down. However, this film is still quintessential Soderbergh. From the opening wonder of George walking into a club and walking out with his contact, I knew this film was going to be a fun ride. There is such a deliberate flow to the camera movements and really tight blocking in each scene, even down to simple conversations. One of the things I love in Soderbergh films is his penchant for doing fly-on-the-wall cinematography. He'll stick a camera in these bizarre places and at bizarre angles, giving us the vibe we're seeing security camera footage. The final dinner scene had these close shots that felt like a tripod was on the table and was deliberately watching someone on one side, if you know what I mean. Editing plays a big role in this film as well. Being a mystery, knowing how to obfuscate information and cut out things deliberately is key. In this film, it is tried and true mystery editing. Information meant for a later time is hidden through cuts to select choices of footage. The editing also aided in the pacing as well. Since this film takes place over a calendar week, the film will have these stylish title cards pop up to demarcate passage of time. It's a tiny thing, but I did really like the font used for those title cards. My favorite aspect of this film, though, was the score. Composed by David Holmes, this was some of the best spy music I have heard in quite some time. This jazz arrangement with a tiny sprinkling of synth work was just popping off with banger piece after banger piece. The bass riffs were just so fucking groovy throughout. Holy shit. The piece when George was walking into the office on Monday or something, the drums were just going absolutely hard. There was such a jangly nature to the percussion. There was a piece that, when timed with the cuts, had chimes being brushed against while characters were doing things. That was cool. Even the one ominous thriller piece was cool, as it was this low synth rumble with some higher jangly hits over top. Honestly, this is a score I would happily listen to independent of the film. On to the writing, and I first have to mention the pacing. I alluded to the editing helping to keep the pace tight, but this script just does not fuck around. An hour and 30 and a little change, not a minute of that runtime was wasted. Every single scene was purposeful and advanced the story or the ideas being presented. On a broad scale, one of the other things I love about this script is its balancing of tone. Despite being a tense thriller, David Cope, I think that's how you say his name, I'm not gonna try again. He injected such a droll sense of humor into this. These characters are just riffing at times, with the first dinner scene being incredibly humorous in such a dark way. A clever thriller this film is indeed, with moving parts aplenty and some really great swerves. Add to that, it sticks the landing at the end beautifully, wrapping up every loose end in a clean bow. This film also serves as a lesson on how to handle relationships. George and Catherine work together, but have a romantic relationship. It's the very definition of shitting where you eat. But they manage to make it work in their own special way. Meanwhile, their co-workers are just absolute slime balls trying to break them up at every turn. And whether that's because of an espionage scheme or petty jealousy, it doesn't matter. A loving relationship can weather any storm, and George said it best when Catherine asked him why he just didn't ask about all this at the front. He had faith. Trust, faith, and support is what you need to make a marriage last, and George and Catherine, despite being ruthless spies, are a model marriage. To present this model marriage, Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett play George and Catherine, respectively. Fassbender's demeanor throughout this film can be seen as cold or uptight, but he's merely reserved and calculated. He's perfectly amiable around Blanchett, and Blanchett is as charming as ever to counter Fassbender's more rigid tendencies. Just a beautifully fun chemistry between these two throughout this film. The four people trying to pin their treason attempt on George and Catherine are Regé-Jean Page, Naomie Harris, Marissa Abela, and Tom Burke. All had their own personality quirks and fun character takes, though I think I found Marissa Abela to be the most fun. She was clearly fiending after Fassbender at points, and her moment with Tom Burke at the beginning of the film, the one where she just stabs him in the hand, was fucking nuts. Also, Pierce Brosnan shows up for a cup of coffee, and he was pretty decent in the film. He came off like the quintessential corrupt stooge. Man, Black Bag really surprised me, and it's a damn crime I didn't get to it sooner. Quite honestly, I preferred this film over Presence, despite Presence's more unique presentation. The tightest of tight scripts, Soderbergh's keen direction, banger score, and a great cast led by Fassbender and Blanchett. Black Bag is for sure one of my favorites of this year, and one I look forward to revisiting in the future. Highly recommended. And I am feeling a 9 out of 10 on this one. Great film. Great film. Catch you later, guys.